In the last class, we just studied priority algorithm, right? And it is based on priority, right? It works upon priority based rules where operating system gives priorities to different processes, and according to priority they will get the chance to take control of CPU for the further processing of its job, right? Now come to second portion of our scheduling algorithm, which is category which falls in preemptive algorithms category, right? So in this we have SRT, round robin, and third we already discussed in last lecture, which was preemptive priority algo, right? We already discussed it. So now in today class we will discuss SRT and round robin. So first we discuss SRT. Let us discuss SRT. SRT means shortest remaining time first. Some books also refer it as SRTF. So don't be confused. SRT and SRTF is same, right? So what is the scheduling? What will be the scheduling criteria for this algorithm? Will be it is same as SJF, but you can consider it, you can address it as preemptive SJF. SJF was non-preemptive, but if we modify SJF in preemptive manner, or we run SJF in preemptive manner, it will act like SRT, shortest remaining time first, right? So what it does, it simply pick the process out of multiple process waiting in ready queue P3, P4. Let's say it is ready queue. CPU. So CPU will pick that process only, which process is closest to completion, or which has shortest remaining time. So what remaining time means? How much time is remaining for that particular process to be completed, right? So every time, so OS need to monitor remaining time for for all the processes in the system, in the ready queue, right? And whichever the process having lowest remaining time will get the chance to get to get the control of CPU. But for this, OS need to know the requirement of any particular process in advance. Otherwise, it can't be implemented. If OS knows completion time or time requirement for all the processes in advance, then only you can implement it. Now, just let us understand it by using an example, right? Then only you will understand the fundamental of SRT, right? So let's start. Let's we have process name, CPU time, CPU burst time, and arrival time given with us. Right. Let's say process A, process B, process C, and process D. We have 4 processes in the system: A, B, C, D, and CPU time for A is 6, B is 3, for C is 1, and D is 4. And arrival time for the processes are like that. Process A arrived at 0, process B arrived at timestamp 1, process C arrived at timestamp 2, and process D arrived at timestamp 3. For easiness, we just allocated arrival time in sequential manner. Otherwise, it can be random in for any another question, right? So for easiness, we just implemented it in sequential manner, right? So now calculate. First, we need to create Gantt chart for that. Let us first create time series as usual. At time t0, we have A in the system. At 1 second, B came into the system. At 2 second, C came to the system, arrived to the system, and at 3rd second, process D arrived in the system. Now create Gantt chart for the same. Gantt chart. Okay, so now when you know that at time t0 only one process is in the system, which was A, so obviously A will get control of CPU, right? And it will run for 1 second. Okay, A will run for 1 second, and after 1 second, there, let us check any other process came into the system. Yes, there is one another process B who came to the system. Now check which one is having less remaining time. Now remaining time for A is now after 1 second will be 5, and these two processes are in the system at the timestamp 1. So now check which one is having shortest remaining time. Here B is having shortest remaining time. That's why A will be suspended. So after 1 second of its task, at 1 second B came, which has shorter remaining time with respect to A, currently running process. So A will be suspended and chance is given to B. So B will start running in the CPU. After further 1 second, let us check at timestamp 2, C appeared. Now check after 1 second it will be 2. Now check whether C has lesser remaining time with respect to B or 1. Not. Yes, it is having lesser remaining time with respect to running process, which is B. So we need to suspend running process and give the control to C. Now C starts running in the system. Now in 1 second C will be completed. In 1 second C got terminated. That means at 3 points C got terminated. So we just check it, marked it that it is completed in at 1 second, in 1 second at timestamp 3. Now at 3, D also appeared in the system, right? So D appeared in the system, and which is having higher remaining time than B. That's why the control of CPU goes to B only, because at this point there are three processes. At this point there are three processes in the system, which are A, B, and D. A has remaining time 5, B has remaining time 2, and D has remaining time 4. That's why B got the control of CPU at this moment, right? So we will execute first for 2 seconds, for 2 seconds, because it has shortest remaining time. That's why it will complete its task now without switching. Okay, so at 5 B will be completed, and we have to choose from A and D. Now from A and D we have to choose shortest one, so D will get control of CPU at this time, right? D will get control of CPU for further 4 seconds. That means at 9th it will be get completed, and after this point only one process remained in the system, which is A. So A will get chance for remaining time, which was 5 seconds. That means after 5 seconds at timestamp 14th it will get terminated, right? So this SRT will work like as JAB only, but it need to calculate shortest remaining time for the process at regular interval, right? At every arrival, at regular interval, or at the arrival of new process in the system, right? So let us calculate waiting time, waiting time for individual process. So for process A, what will be the waiting time? It will be, it got CPU here first time at 0, and it arrived into the system at time t0, plus it again got the control of CPU at 9, and when it is suspended, it was suspended at 1, right? So it will be 8 second for A. For B, let us check. For B, it got CPU first time at 1 and arrived at 1, right? So minus 1, plus again it got control of CPU at 3, and when it left the system, when it got suspended at 2. So total time will be 1. 1 second for B. For C, let us check. C got the CPU at timestamp 2, and when it arrived to the system, at timestamp 2. So that's why it got 0 second waiting. And for D, it will be, for D, it got CPU at 5, and when it arrived to the system at 3. So waiting time for D will be 2 seconds. So average waiting time for the whole system will be, average waiting time will be 8 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 by 4. That means 11 by 4 means 2.75 second. Now check turnaround time. turnaround time. For A, turnaround time will be 14. At 14 it got terminated, and when it arrived at 0. So minus 0 equals to 14 seconds. For B, when B terminated, it is at 5, and when it got the when it arrived at 1, it arrived at 1. So total turnaround time will be 4 seconds. For C, C got terminated in at 3, and it arrived at 2. That means 1 second was total turnaround time for C. And for D, it got terminated at 9. So 9 minus arrival time was 3. So total turnaround time for D will be 6 seconds. So average turnaround time for whole process will be 14 plus 4 plus 1 plus 6 upon 4. 20, 24, 25. 25 upon 4. 6.25 second. So for the given scenario, SRT just calculated with average waiting time for SRT will be 2.75 and 6.25. So remember, it is a preemptive algorithm. So you have to preempt any process which is having lesser priority, and here priority is shortest remaining time. If any process is having shorter remaining time, that will get the CPU definitely first out of all the processes given processes, right? Okay, but what if it at any time stamp two process has same shortest remaining time, then we already told you that in case of conflict you need to use FCFS. If two process at any time, if two process found with the same remaining time, then you have to select that particular process which came earlier in the system, right? So don't forget it. This is the basic concept. If any time you got in conflicted condition, you need to select that process only which arrived first in the system. You need to check arrival time of both process and select that process which came earlier into the system, right? So this was our SRT. So SRT is nothing. It is a preemptive version of SJF only, right? So you need to take care of it. Maybe in exam he will not ask algorithm directly. He will not tell you to use SRT. He will tell you to use preemptive SJF. Then you must understand that SRT is the only preemptive SJF algorithm, right? So you need to apply SRT when you will be asked for preemptive SJF, right? So remember that one. Now this one is SRT. Now come to our second algorithm, which is round robin. Round robin, and alternative name for this will be time sharing, right? Algo. This works like time sharing system, right? So it uses the scheduling or selection criteria for this algorithm will be a predeterministic slice of time, that is called time quantum. Time quantum, or in some cases it is recognized as, it is addressed as time slice, or TS, or TQ, right? This is the time span for any particular process in the CPU. That means if we are having multiple processes waiting for the CPU will be given to the all the processes in time sharing manner. Means if you have 1 second of time quantum, that means for every process, time for the execution will be 1 second for every process, and after one process of time, the CPU will start context switching and select another process for 1 second. After that, next select another process for 1 second, like that only. That means what it will do, if you have, let's say, P1, P2, P3 in the system, and you are using round robin. That means round robin, and you have time slice of 2 seconds, right? So for 2 seconds it will give chance of CPU to P1. After 2 seconds it will suspend P1 and select P2 for the processing, and after 2 seconds it will suspend P2 and select P3 for the processing, and after 2 seconds it will suspend P3 and select again P1. After further 2 seconds, select P2. After further 2 seconds, select P3. So like that it will work, right? So that's why it is called time sharing, because you are sharing your CPU for constant time interval, right? And after constant time slice, you are switching CPU between multiple processes, and once all the processes in the system got the CPU first time, it will again restart the process for all the processes like P1, P2, P3. It will select P1, then P2, then P3, then again P1, P2, P3. That's why it is called round robin. That means there will be a round. You are creating a round between all the processes we have in the system, right? So that's why it is called round robin algorithm, right? So every time it select a job, see the step, select a job from ready queue. So CPU is selecting any first process in the system, right? After that, when time slice or time quantum expires, that means it after selecting a job, it start timer for selected job. At third, when time expires, for that particular job, it will preempt job which is running in CPU and put it at the end of ready queue, right? See this process, this one, what we are doing here, we are putting process at the end of the ready queue, right? And select new process from ready queue. Ready queue. See, when it suspended P1, it selected new process P2, right? Right. So this is the basic working principle of round robin, right? So now let's understand it using example. Let us we have process name CPU time and arrival time like A, B, C, D. 8, 4, 9, 5, and arrival time 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have this snapshot of the system at time stamp T0. So first, to solve this, you need to first create a time series in rough page. At time T0, we have A. At time T1, we got a new process in the system B. At time T2, we got a new process in the system C. And at time T3, we got new process in the system D. Okay, this is our time series for ensuring less mistakes in attempting these types of questions, right? So let us create Gantt chart for the same. So you can check it. At time T0, we have only one process, and in the question they will give you timestamp or time slice. Time slice. If they want to apply round robin by from you, they will give time slice. So it is a trick. If you are having time slice given in the system, that means they are going to ask you round robin method, right? So time slice TS or time quantum, you can address it by time quantum also. Sometimes they will give it right with the name time slice, or sometimes they will address it as time quantum. So here we have time quantum 4 second. 4 second means after every 4 second context switching will happen, and CPU will suspend running process and select new process from the ready queue, right? So understood my point? So come. So at time T0 we have only one process, which is A. So obviously A will get control of CPU. And for how much duration it will continue to work? It will continue to work for given timestamp, which is 4 seconds. At least 4 seconds it will continue to work in CPU. So at 4th timestamp, for 4 seconds it will continue. After that it got suspended and new process will be selected from the CPU ready queue. So here we have 3 processes in the system, and according to ready queue, B came after A. So B will get the chance. So B will get the chance, right? So for 4 seconds it will run, and after 4 seconds context switching will happen. So once it completed 4 seconds, that means its remaining time is 4. It ran 4 seconds, that means it got terminated, that means it is terminated. That means you need not to now we have at this point in time, at 8 seconds, we have scenario like that, C, D, A, which got suspended from here, right? This is the scenario of ready queue at this point in time. So which process will get selected? C, because it is the first process in the ready queue now. So C will run for 4 seconds, and after 4 seconds it got its remaining time will be 5 seconds. That means it will be rescheduled after this. That means C went here in ready queue. Now at this point in time we have ready queue like that, DAC. So D will get the control. D will get the control. Okay. So D will run for 4 seconds, and after 4 seconds its remaining time will be 1, and after 4 seconds at 16th it will suspended and get rescheduled in ready queue after C. Now at this point we have ready queue, this one ACD. So A will get the chance for 4 seconds. Okay, for 4 seconds it will have the chance of CPU. That means at 20th it has to either terminate or reschedule. At 20th, see, after second turn it has 0 time. That means it got terminated. At 20th A got terminated. Now at this point in time we have C and D in the system. So after A, C will be selected. Now C will run for 4 seconds, and remaining time will be 1. So after 4 seconds means at 24 C will be rescheduled in ready queue after D, right? Right? So now D got the chance for CPU. Now D check D how much time D is remaining. Remaining time of D. See, it is 1 second only. 1 second means it will run for only 1 second. This is important, right? For 1 second it will run, and after 1 second it got terminated. That means at 25 it will got terminated. It got terminated, and you need to select new process for CPU. So at this point in time you have only one process, that means C. So C will be selected and C will run for only 1 second at this time, because its remaining time is only 1. That's why at 26 second all the process got completed, terminated from the system, right? So this is the working principle of round robin or time sharing algorithm, right? In the last you need to you have to check whether the whether the running process need to complete 4 seconds or less time, because if it has less remaining time than for time quantum, it needs to terminate. So remember, don't be confused. At this point D and C will not run for complete time slice, it will run for only remaining time only. Okay, got my point, guys? Now calculate waiting time for these processes. So let's say A. For A, waiting time will be at time t. First time it appeared at 0 and arrived in the system at 0. Now check second time arrival, this. At second time it got CPU at 16, and when it was suspended at 4. So total waiting time for the A will be, total waiting time for A will be 12 seconds. And for B got the system at 4, and when it arrived to the system, it arrived to the system at 1. So total waiting for B will be 3 seconds, because there is no more occurrence of B in the Gantt chart, right? C got CPU at 8 first time, and when it arrived at 2. Now check first time here, second time here, third time here. Now check again, it got CPU at 20, and when it was released at 12. 20 minus 12. At the third time, it got CPU from at 25, and when it got suspended by 24. So total time waiting time for C will be 6 plus 8. Sorry, 6 plus 8 plus 1. That means 15 second. 15 second will be waiting time for C. Now for D came at first time at 12 and arrived in the system at 3. 12 minus 3, this is first occurrence, and at second occurrence it came at 24 and released at 16. So total waiting time for this D will be 9 plus 8, 17 second. So average waiting time for the system will be 12 plus 3 plus 15 plus 17 upon 4, right? So 17, 3, 20, 20, 30, 35, 35, 45, 47. 47 by 4 means 11.75. 11.75 second will be total waiting time for round robin for given scenario. Now calculate turnaround time. Let us calculate. For A, turnaround time will be for A finally it got terminated by 20, and when it arrived in the system at time t0, that means total turnaround time for A will be 20 seconds. For B terminated at 8 and came at 1. That means total turnaround time will be 7 seconds. For C terminated at 26, and when it arrived at 2. That means 24 seconds. And for D terminated at 25 and arrived in the system at 3. That means 22 seconds. 22 seconds, right? So average turnaround time will be 20 plus 7 plus 24 plus 22 upon 4. 60, 62, 66, 66 plus 7. 66 plus 7, 73. 73 by 4 means 1, 33, 8.25. 18.25 second will be the turnaround time for round robin for given question. So this is what we are explaining, that it works as time sharing manner, right? And the main important factor here is time slice. See, time slice. If you have larger time slice, that means it will act like first come first serve. See, for these four cases here, which process came first got the chance first. If this time slice was would 2 seconds, then it will act like proper time sharing manner. See, after 2 seconds, it need to switch. After 2 seconds, only three processes would be there, A, B, C only. But in here, in this case, at 4 times time, all the processes are in the system. That's why for the this duration, due to the factor that we have time slice 4, it acts as FCFS, right? So you need to take care about time slice. If if you are setting your time slice very less, that means more number of context switching will happen, and more number of context switching means more larger overhead to the CPU, because CPU has to switch between one process to another process. CPU has to switch context of one process and load another context of another process. Whether it is context switching will happen in nanoseconds, but it is measurable if uh, it will measurable if it happens multiple times, right? So time quantum uh, should not be very less and should not be very high. It should be moderate, right? If if you set time quantum very short, more context switching will happen, more overhead to the CPU will be given. That means CPU will not work efficiently. And if time quantum is larger, that means no context switching will happen. That means it will simply act like FCFS, right? So we need to take care about this particular parameter, which is time slice. So time round robin is totally time sharing basis, means you are sharing your CPU for the constant interval of time for every among every processes in the system. So this one, so we just understood two algorithms, SRT and round robin, which are preemptive in nature, है ना? And we already discussed preemptive version of priority algorithm yesterday. So these are the all the scheduling algorithm we need to study. So we just completed those one.